Hello and welcome to this episode of the Business Spotlight. Today we are joined by Marina Hop from Viveo. Hi, Marina.
Hi, how are you doing, Mark?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks very much for having me on the podcast.
Absolute pleasure. So, for those of you joining us here on the Business Spotlight, um, if you're wondering what it's all about, it's a place for you to come if you're thinking of getting into business or if you're already on that entrepreneurship journey, you're in the right place. So, Marina, if you could just kick things off for us, please, by letting our audience know who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
So I'm Marina Hop. I run a very small marketing consultancy called Viveo Consulting, and we're very niche. So we only work with people in science-based companies. And we've been doing it for about 8 years now. The company's grown over that time, so we now have three core partners in the company. Myself, I head up the strategy and business development. And then I have a creative director and an art director, as well as a network of associates that help us with various skills like digital marketing, web design, and so on.
Wow, fantastic. So you've already got your niche there. So I often ask what's different about you or how do you differentiate yourself from others? So just tell us a little bit more about that, please, Marina.
So you probably have to go back a little bit. I'm a scientist by training. I then got really interested in strategy and worked as a management consultant for a while, and then came back into working for life science companies in a marketing role. So about 8 years ago, when I was thinking about going independent, I was thinking about, well, what's the intersection with all these three different areas, and can I do something with that? And so I think what we offer is something a little bit different because not only do you get the marketing consulting, but you also get my background in terms of my scientific background and my ability to then craft strategy. So I think that's quite a unique offering in this area.
Wow, yeah, that certainly is. I mean, very unique, just to say the least. So, I mean, just tell us a bit about the background of the business then and what made you sort of set it up and the sort of journey so far.
So I was really interested in getting back into consulting after having been in management consulting for a while. And I thought, how can I take my experience from working with a very large life science company, and how can I use that to help smaller organizations? So my consultancy really now only works with small to medium-sized life science companies. So very much people from small startups. My smallest client had 5 employees when they started, to sort of medium-sized companies that are maybe a few hundred, but not massive life science companies. And we provide services to companies who are selling into pharma and biotech. So they might be providing equipment or services to those companies. And it's really taking all those years of experience and helping people who are just getting started in marketing to be very effective right from the beginning.
Wow, that's amazing. So that kind of brings us up to where we are now. So what plans have you got for the future? And more importantly, what sort of challenges do you think you might face?
Well, I'll start with the challenges. I mean, the market is very challenging at the moment, I think, for all sectors. And there's a lot of uncertainty around funding, especially in the US, which is one of the biggest markets for scientific products. NIH is the body that provides most of the funding in the US, and it's really all under the spotlight at the moment in terms of what's happening with Doge and Elon Musk's review of federal spending. So the environment is very challenging. I guess on the upside, science is a very dynamic place to be. There are always startups coming through, new things being discovered, being spun out of universities. And I think that's what keeps it really exciting. So, one week we might be working on a particular area like RNA vaccines, for COVID, for example. The next week we might be working on a new instrument, a new microscope or something that's going to really change how scientific research is done. So it's that dynamism, I think, that really excites us and keeps the market going. It's very generative.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I mean, having that as a share of having that diversity in the business, I think they say, what is it? Variety is the spice of life. So it sounds like you've got that part of it sort of nailed. So, Marina, moving on to yourself then as the business owner, what would you say has been, I mean, it's probably difficult to nail it down to one, but what would you say has been the biggest lesson that you've learned from running the business today?
I think it's a lesson that I learned very early on, and something that I always say to small businesses who are starting up: you have to learn to sell. If you can't sell yourself or your business, then the chances of survival are not great. And I'm not a natural salesperson, and it doesn't come to me intuitively. And so, it's something I actually have to work on every single day. Um, I sometimes think, running your own business can be summed up as everything all of the time, everywhere, because as a small business owner, you have to be doing multiple things all the time. You have to be thinking about the next project as well as delivering the current one. So it can be quite relentless sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's never a truer word spoken. I mean, I agree with you so much that there's so many different hats that we have to wear in running businesses. And I love that phrase. I think they made a film quite recently that sort of had the
I
same
think they
title.
did, yes.
Yeah, and it was a bit of a weird film as well when I watched it. Have you seen the film?
I haven't, but I stole the title.
I love that. I love that. Brilliant. So, okay, Marina, if we were, humour me if you will, able to travel back in time, and we were going to travel back and we get the opportunity, Marina, to have a conversation with an 18-year-old you, but you only get to give yourself one piece of advice, one golden nugget. What would it be?
That's an excellent question. I think I would say be bold. I think when I was young, I was possibly too worried about making mistakes, about getting everything perfect before I tried it. Maybe not trying things that I could have tried and had learning experiences from. So I would really say, be bold.
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice, and I'm sure it's going to resonate a lot with a lot of our younger audience. And I think there's a book, I can't remember the author, but it's Done is Better Than Perfect. So
Completely agree. I think, even if you every experience you have, you can take some learning from it, even if it didn't turn out exactly the way that you'd hoped it did. And I think just having that diversity of experience helps you in so many ways.
absolutely, yeah, couldn't agree more. That's fantastic. So let me ask you, Marina. I mean, running a business, it can be challenging, right? So there's obviously something that inspires you or puts that fire in your belly every day, every week to do what you do. What is it?
It's probably the thing that dragged me into science in the first instance. It's just curiosity. You know, I always think there's an opportunity to learn something. Things that just really interest me, and I'm interested in a very wide range of things as well. And I think that plays very well to the creative activities that we do as a marketing agency. You need that curiosity in order to be creative. And it's just knowing every day we're going to be doing something that's going to bring something new to the table, some way of exploring a different approach or doing something different.
Yeah, I think that's a great share. And, that is the key, isn't it? That new opportunity that you don't know what it is until it presents itself. And I think that's one of the reasons why I myself love marketing too, as well. And I'm sure that there's going to be an awful lot of people that are going to want to find out more about your business and what you can do to potentially help them, or even something that's resonated during the podcast today. So, if someone was to reach out and get in touch with you, Marina, what would be the best way for them to do that?
So, of course, our website, which is viveo.io, but we run something called Free Advice Fridays. So, on a Friday, we block out some time where people can just book a half hour and have a chat over a coffee. And we're happy to share our thoughts on a particular marketing problem or challenge that they might have. And it's a great way for us to meet people as well.
I love that. Free advice Friday. So if I wanted some free advice on Friday, how would I go about doing that?
So you just go to our website and there's a link right there on the contact page, and you can book a slot in our diary on a Friday, which we keep specifically for chatting to particularly small companies and people who might want advice.
Wow, that's brilliant. Well, listen, Marina, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the Business Spotlight today. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And for all of our viewers, that's a wrap. That is the Business Spotlight. We'll see you all again very soon. Take care. Bye for now.